Excuse me, what did that guy tell you? Huh? What did the other guy tell you? What did that guy tell you? What did that guy tell you? That guy was cursing at you, right?
No, he said he wake up.
He said,
Kill me.
I said, wake your black ass up, right? He said, we're black ass. Yeah, no, so they've been citing violence against me. I normally use the bathroom here. So they're not coming to use the bathroom. So this is mental health month. They are planting people to be inciting violence against me. As I was coming out of the train, one kid was saying, oh my God, I was like making fun of God. I used to come to this MTS train station to watch an Nigerian Christian church, Pastor Joshua Church, online and stuff using Wi-Fi. And soon after, they blocked me from accessing that church, accessing the Wi-Fi in the train station. I went and blew up that church, synagogue church in Nigeria, 2014. A Russian military plane, so they saw an American military plane leave a German airbase, go to Nigeria and blow up that church around November 2014. Earlier than that, my friend was gonna help me with my court papers against the police. I was suing the police then, and they were revenging. If I come to the MCA to use Wi-Fi, they would block my Wi-Fi and chase me out of the train station, pay my fare. And they went and killed my friend at Regardner also here in New York in 2014. My mother's daughters also joined in and framed mental illness of my mother and got her killed in my hand. My mother said they were after the money, I was going to win. Because me and my mother was staying on Staten Island when the police evicted us wrongfully. And my mother said one of the daughters was joining a bad gang. And I believe that we were into narcotics, blindly. And I believe somebody, maybe from their police, used their gang to influence my mother's daughters, got them to kill my mother, frame mental illness of my mother. My mother was saying she was suspecting her daughters for trying to kill her for inheritance scam money. Because they say people kill people in America so they can inherit whatever money or asset the person may have. Yesterday also I went to the store to get newspapers. That particular store is owned by like a Muslim, Middle Eastern, Indian or whatever. And some women came there and were trying to burn things in, like white women. So anytime I try to read the newspaper, I think they may be working for the Me Too, so they're engaging in a lot of violence, because they said the Me Too, Weinstein and R. Kelly, all their lawyers are saying there's some mistrial going on, there's some all kinds of misconduct. Like this R. Kelly said they're about to kill him in prison. And I've been trying to testify that the lawyer for the Me Too program, all right. I asked her to help me that ever since I took the NYPD to court for sexually abusing and taking my home, my friend Regana has been killed, my church has been blown up in Nigeria, and she says she can't help me, that she helps me. The NYPD will drop the case against R. Kelly and Weinstein, and she needs those people locked up so she can win money for a client. So it's like, and a lot of these people have been saying, they're experiencing misconduct, whether R. Kelly says somebody tried to kill him in prison, or the jury in the Weinstein case said the people are threatening with violence. So this Me Too group, I believe, is hiring black Americans like that to start a fight around me, call the police when I use the bathroom to get me killed. This is mental health month, and they're using my gender to trump me. I was born a male, but now I'm a female. So they always call the police on me and say, no, you can't use the bathroom, women's bathroom. There was a Spanish MTA worker at 34th Street. She always scratches her hair before she attacks me. And the last time they put me in the psychiatric hospital, a white guy was grabbing my hair, and I told him to stop it. I'm very down for July 23rd, 2019. And then they called the police on me. I normally beg for money around that area, very down. And very down 4th Avenue. And they called the police on me, framing that I was crazy attacking the white guy. And they will lock me up in the psychiatric hospital, stole my green card. So they lie on people, ambush them. I believe this Me Too was behind it, because at that time I was trying to testify for Weinstein and R. Kelly. They had a case against R. Kelly that the Me Too lawyer is working with the police to entrap people, and they're using violence, and that's why they wanted to get rid of me, and they were choking me on July 2019. So this which is a violent gang. They are working with their police and setting blacks up to be killed. So anytime I go to the police station, they're going to call the police on me. So I'm crazy, I'm not a real woman. I'm just pretending, which is against the law for them to be saying that. Yes, I was born a male, but I live my life as a female. And New York law allows me to change my gender without having to inform anybody. So they're terrorizing me. In order to get conversion law, they have to arrest these people. Because gay conversion says we can't use any form of intimidation to try to harass somebody because of their sexual orientation. They would be calling me a man. Today, June is Mental Health Month in New York City, and I always notice they always use everything to harass me with. So they say a lot of black males are misdiagnosed as schizophrenic. Somebody threw papers on the floor. And I was reading the paper, and it was a mental health record of a black male. They said he was on drugs, and it was also schizophrenic. How can you be on drugs and be schizophrenic? I'm not saying it's not impossible, but could it be the drugs is what is causing him to hallucinate or whatever? They also misdiagnosed me with all kinds of mental illness. So they're misdiagnosing blacks with mental illness. My mother also was framed up as crazy and was killed in May. So every June, they always try to frame me as crazy also. Hoping I would die the way my mother died. My mother was having a heart problem, and she went to the hospital to treat her heart problem. And her daughter got paralyzed. My mother said she's with the gang. She's a narcotic gang. So that daughter came to the hospital and was trolling my mother, trying to make her mad. And then called the doctors on and to lock her up in the psych ward. And my mother got so angry she died that way. So my mother was saying that daughter was moving with a bad gang. So I believe this Me Too and their police are all about killing blacks that could testify against the police. At that time, my mother was going to testify against the police for me. Eric Garner was going to testify against the police for me. And some people are taunting Eric Garner. I don't care if people are taunting him. I'm also getting taunted. Between this Me Too and the trial of Weinstein that the Me Too is involved in, is Adala, lawyer for Weinstein, was saying they were jumping. He said call 911. If I get call 911, it's me they will kill, because it's a white guy, you can say that. He said his cat also got him, it is expression misconduct, as one of the jurors says threat. So the trademark of this Me Too is to be using violence. They steal all my clean clothing. They stole like $50 worth of phone chargers from me yesterday. So I can't even charge my phone, and my phone battery is about to die. So they steal all my clean clothing and wet phone clothing. So they're setting me up to look crazy and get me angry. And there's no way we're online. I don't know Weinstein personally. I don't know the Weinstein lawyer Adala, but he does a radio show on 970 at 6 p.m. But we're playing songs like driving you crazy. And I feel like he was talking about me, about the system they're using against me. And he also said he represents Eric Adam. I used to criticize Eric Adam a lot. So we'll be playing this at Alta Adala. He does a radio show at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Monday to Friday on 970 a.m. And he'll play this song. She's driving me crazy. That's what we're playing. And we're talking about my case. So one day he said his listeners should come and meet him. He's doing a show on Grand Central Station. So I think he was playing that song to let me know the Me Too are going to drive me crazy and kill me. And we'll be laughing about it, and I feel like this white guy is so cruel. Unfortunately, his clients also expressing the same thing. I don't know if he also wants me killed, so he can argue the Me Too has killed me, and one of the people that could testify for his client should walk free. So I think it benefits him if the Me Too kills me. And he will be playing that song, She's Driving Me Crazy. The Me Too is a women group. And they drove my mother crazy. I think my mother's daughter may be part of that Me Too. Because my mother said that Polanyi claimed a white guy assaulted her in America and she beat up the white guy. So they say, the Me Too is a group of women that go after men that assault them. So my mother was saying, that daughter was, in 2015, was moving with a dangerous gang type, was like, so she said she doesn't know who she can't really pinpoint it to a particular gang. I think that Me Too, they were underground then. They were underground then, but they were among the college-educated women. My mother's daughters went to college, University of Pennsylvania, graduated, But my mother said she was into drugs, And my mother said this daughter done drive my mother crazy. I guess this daughter couldn't forgive my mother. When my mother took this daughter to Nigeria, this daughter was beating up my mother, so she doesn't want to live in Nigeria. And when my mother was living with her in the Bronx, she was beating up people in school, and so my mother took her to Nigeria because she was having problems. She was getting violent as a kid. So my mother took this daughter to Nigeria, and within a year, my mother had to send her back to America because she was beating up my mother in Nigeria, and she said she doesn't want to live in Nigeria. So my mother arranged with the White family to take temporary custody of her, and as soon as she got to America, she beat up the White family, and I guess it was, she made a lot of allegation and stuff. So I guess she couldn't forgive my mother over that. That why couldn't my mother come immediately? And my mother was having financial issues. That's why she couldn't, come immediately because she had bought a plane ticket, a return plane ticket to come back to America in case the daughters don't like Nigeria. She didn't want to keep them in Nigeria. But the Nigerian government, confiscated that ticket, stole that ticket from her, so she couldn't return back to America. And that's why my mother was trapped in Nigeria with me, and she didn't have extra money. So she borrowed money to make sure the daughters could leave, but the daughters were beating her up, so they don't want to leave Nigeria, anymore. So my mother put them on a plane to stay with the White family while she, so that she can come and join them later. And as soon as the daughter got here, she beat up the White family and stuff. And she also alleged that she was sexually touched in a way, an inappropriate way. So I guess that's why she went and said, my mother said that daughter has never forgiven my mother, and she always told my mother that the 1 year she spent in Nigeria ruined her life. And it was our choice to come back to America, really, because my mother and father were in Nigeria. And, Nigeria wasn't wasn't heaven on earth, but at least she was safe. But she would beat up my mother, so she doesn't like Nigeria at all. She was like, Nigeria's too ghetto for her. So my mother found the whitest place in America, Pennsylvania, to put her in. She was always talking about Nigeria was too ghetto. And, so my mother brought her, and so as soon as she got here, she said, she got violent with the white people, and she's been blaming my mother that my mother ruined her life, and my mother should have never left New York. But the daughter was getting involved in a bad gang in New York also, so my mother thought maybe changing environment for a brief period would help her, to appreciate, poverty in Nigeria. Maybe when she came back to America, some parents do that, African parents do that. They see their daughters or their children are joining a bad gang in America, they take them to Africa briefly so they can see this poverty, and maybe when they come back here, they'll be more focused, and appreciate, that things will not be perfect, but, they see that the African spirit is always being resilient through any hardship, trying to make something out of whatever you have, so my mother didn't mean no harm, and she said, when I scared my mother to death. So there's a trademark of violence in this Me Too, in which they go after people like their own mothers, and blame people for whatever is going on. But it was it was that daughter's choice to come back to America. Even my mother told me that I want to come. I was like, no, I couldn't stand leaving my mother, So my mother sent those two daughters alone, But the thought of, as a child, the thought of leaving my mother alone scared me, So that, but those daughters, they were all for it, leaving their parents and alone in Nigeria, coming here, And now they said the daughter was blaming my mother that taking her to Nigeria ruined her life, that she didn't want to be near that kind of ghetto-ness or whatever. So it's a mess. It's a mess, and this means are much more of a mess, and something that, and their white-led, their lawyer Gloria Oren. She controls this New York, she controls the police force, and the lawyers don't even want to help me, because they're afraid of her. But now, they said this trial is also a mess. One of the jury ran away, said his life has been threatened, and the author was saying call 911, You know, and we used to play the song. She drives me crazy. You know, a lot of time when I listen to this radio show, I've been under FBI surveillance because when my mother brought me to America, the immigration arrested me, said children are not allowed in America. Even though my mother had a green card and I had a green card visa. So, you know, we blacks, especially Africans, our whole life is always upside down. You know, they just use us for fun. My friend Eric also, they took him there. Diallo, they shoot him with 40 bullets here in New York City. So this African life in New York City is just like our life is a gambit for whatever racist or anybody that has hate in animals to get us. You know, nobody will come to our rescue. And if I dare call 911, this mayor said they should be arresting homeless and putting us in a psychiatric hospital. So they should look at our clothing and they stole all my good clothing. So I'm caught in between a rock and a hard place. And this white guy is like taunting me with the trial. And he said some people need to be locked up for real. I said, excuse me, lawyer, could you be among the people that should be locked up? Because I approached him for help. At one point, he said his listeners should come and meet him on 42nd Street Grand Central that is doing his show in the summer. One of the years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, on the street. So I went to meet him. So I said, excuse me, sir, I have a lot of evidence for you. You know, I know you represent Eric Adams. Please, there's a court order that the city of New York is supposed to put me in a hotel room. I said, you can see my condition, right? I said, the city of New York took my home wrongfully, and there's been a court order that anytime they take your home, you know, kick you out of the basement apartment without a court order, they have to put you in a hotel room. I said, this court order was since the 1990s at the New York Supreme Court in Brooklyn. You know, and he told me, no, you can't really talk with me. He doesn't do civil cases like that. He doesn't like to get involved in civil cases. He only does criminal cases. I'm like, the law firm does civil cases also. And he was just trying to get me angry. He's like, no, I'm not going to help you. And I said, no. You know, and so I left the park. I think that park was across the street from Grand Central Station. You know, so, you know, and I felt so low. Like, oh my goodness, how come nobody wants to help me? You know, and the next day he started playing the song again or so. She drives me crazy. Then he started to talk about me. Said he met a homeless person. Said, oh my goodness, this homeless people they need psychiatric help. So you can tell this homeless person is crazy. You know, so this mayor says, you know, he was working for Mayor Adams. He said this mayor needs to lock up all these homeless. So they said they want me to die. They said when my mother died, when my mother went to the hospital to treat her heart disease, a Belgium in 2015, and the daughter probably came there and I had to forgive my mother, and my mother said that daughter was driving my mother crazy. You know, and when I called the doctor to lock my mother up in the psychiatric hospital, and my mother was so angry and she collapsed and died. You know, I believe these white people know, that, this is how my mother died. And this city, and this Ricardo also says it's going to be locking us homeless up in the psychiatric hospital. So it's like they just want me dead, and so they can then use it as a leverage. So British always after $1 once. It wants me dead, so it cannot tell the city of New York first up. Listen, I know the deal, like a drug deal. I know why the African is dead now. So, set this Weinstein free before I spill on the beans and you all get out with murder. So they are running the justice system here like a drug deal. I can't believe my eyes. My friend Arigana dead, my mother dead, and this white guy playing the song, she drives me crazy, and we'll be laughing, and they believe this is the American gangsterism that benefits their society, the white people. And I said, and people will tell me you're just a sacrifice, and everywhere I go, they're planting these black Americans. As soon as I was getting out the elevator, I was saying, your black ass. I said, get your black ass up out of here. Get your black, it was a black guy telling a black woman that. That's why I approached the black woman. I said, are they paying you guys? What is going on? Why is the black guy telling your black ass? I said, I'm an African. Black Americans call me all kinds of names, nigger, monkey. I said, what's up with you two black Americans? As soon as I'm coming out of the elevator, I was saying, your black ass, get your black ass out of the way. They always tell me to go back to African stuff. So that's why I put that woman. I said, what was he telling you? And she changed the statement. He said, he told her to get her. I said, no. He said, your black ass. Why can't you say the same thing he said? So she was confident for him, apparently they're paying them. They're playing black Americans to write against me. FIFA is not safe. You know, and they believe an African getting killed could be the best form of revenge and the best form of legal maneuver to free Weinstein. So I don't even know which approach for help. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. But I'm not gonna. I pray I don't lose my sanity. You know, you can play your songs. It's driving me crazy. I think that song was a Grammy Award winning. You know, and you know, I used to appeal for help on the train. Tell people to help me contact the authorities. That look, nobody wants to help me. And then a Black American rapper released a song, Kendrick Lamar, saying they're not like us. They're not like us. You know, and nobody would help me. So this is a mess. I'm a foreigner. My green card has been stolen. My passport was stolen. My mother has been killed. So the truth should come out. And this is Men's Mental Health Month, June 2025. Here in America, they say, you know, and they always try to, you know, use everything against me. Lock me up in a psychiatric hospital. They look for any social happening during LGBT month. They will be harassing me because of my being LGBT. During Black Month, they'll be harassing me for being black. And now Men's Mental Health Month, they keep calling the police on me. You know, this is a hate crime. They're attacking because of my gender. In June 2025, a Spanish woman at the 34th Street train station, she'll be scratching her hair anytime she's abusing me. To remind me of the last time they would lock me up, I was using the bathroom in the train station bathroom for women, you know, at Pastor Park, and they brought a thug there to arrest me, and I recorded that thug because I'm going to upload the video online. You know, and later that day, July 23, 2019, I was in Bay Ridge and Fort paying for money, and they brought a white guy to grab my hair, grab my dreadlocks. You know, I couldn't stop it. And they called the police on me, said I was fighting a white guy. I said, yeah, grab my hair. I wasn't fighting, I just told him not to do that anymore. He always comes and bother me in that neighborhood. And the police knocked me down and choked me. So that apparently they want to kill me, because at that time I was talking about Gloria Allred. They have evidence that could help Weinstein and and R. Kelly. And none of these people lawyers approached me. I guess sometimes say because, you know, I'm a LGBT, transsexual, and African. Sometimes they don't really believe your testimony will convince the juror, because sometimes there's all kinds of bias against Africans because I have a foreign accent. Even me and my mother couldn't get a lawyer when we're trying to sue the police. So some of their lawyers in America don't want to use Africans, especially gay, transsexual, and I speak with an accent. And apparently this Otto Dollar was saying, when he met me, I smell bad. You know, so they always say Africans smell bad, and they always accuse Africans of smelling. So they call their police now. Anytime I call me, they always send the police. You know, they have a bathroom here, so I guess they're preparing me to arrest me if I dare try to use the bathroom. You know, so this is what they do. They arrest me for no reason. You know, so they say they always say Africans smell bad or whatever, or we're not, or more like they say we're not pretty enough. You know, so they tell me with their police and stuff. I don't know why they keep surrounding this area with their police. Any area I'm in. You know, so this is what is going on. You know, and I'm trying to use the bathroom, so there's the bathroom here, of course. You know, but so I guess they're going to use the bathroom. You know, surrounding me with their police. You know, yesterday I was eating chicken, and then late at night. Then anytime I eat chicken like that, I will use the bathroom. You know, so they're taunting me, surrounding anywhere I'm at, to the police and stuff. So this is what is going on. So the police are hiding somewhere. You know, so they believe they can kill me the most brutal way as an African, and they believe they can win in court. That an African stand no chance. You know, whether dead or alive. So they killed my mother the most brutal way also. So this has to be investigated. Enough is enough. You know, so FIFA is not safe to bring the World Cup here. You cover for these people, and they're getting much more brutal. They don't let me use the bathroom. This is the Mental Health Month, Men's Mental Health Month, and they use that to tell me, they say you're a man. Go back to being a man. You know, so this woman is not working for you. Because, you know, and they will mock me that way. I put on a full face mask. That's how you're able to tell my face. You know, you can't even see my face. So this was good.